talk of the town. I know you're feeling it now. Come on and move to the sound.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of Talk of the Town, the Mount Airy Business and Leadership Interview Series. I'm Donnamarie Needle, Mount Airy resident and local realtor with Northrop Realty and sponsor of Talk of the Town, where the goal is to spotlight our small businesses and our great leaders and to encourage folks to buy local, shop local, and eat local. I'm honored to be here today with Mount Airy Town Councilwoman Lynne Galletti. I have known Councilwoman Galetti for nearly 25 years. As our kids went to school together, Lynne has always been active in our town in one way or another, starting with being the president of the Moms Club when our kids were toddlers, to being the president of MAYA, the Mount Airy Youth Athletic Association, to even co-hosting her own talk show, and has always been a huge advocate for our community. I knew that Lynne becoming a town council member would be a great asset to our community. So I'm delighted to have her here today to find out her thoughts on the future of Mount Airy. Welcome, Councilwoman Galetti.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for providing another forum for people to get facts and information and learn about our town. It's a great thing you're doing.
Well, thank you. I hope that people are listening, and I'm sure hope they're going to be listening to what you have to say today. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Councilwoman, if you would please share with our audience what or when was the pivotal moment or circumstance that made you decide to run for town council?
Oh, wow. So there was not one specific moment that made me decide to run for council. Over the years, I've attended as a citizen council meetings, volunteered for the town, as you mentioned, and one question kept jumping out at me watching council meetings, commission meetings. Why are things being talked about for so many years and nothing seems to be moving forward and getting done? So years ago, Mayor Rockenberg asked me to volunteer on the Streets and Roads Commission, and I began to see chances to make positive changes, get involved, and volunteer my time for the town. So last spring, Mayor Rockenberg asked me to run for council, and I said no. And then after a lot of thought and discussion, I agreed to go ahead and run for council and got elected.
Yeah, and you worked hard at it for sure. You're definitely a great voice at the table. So
thank you.
As we both know, having lived here for more than 25 years or 25 years or more, longer, the controversy regarding growth in our town is nothing new. What do you think is needed to strike a balance between those who demand not one more house be built in Mount Airy versus the true needs for smart growth to help our community thrive?
Great question. And that's the question that you and I have heard asked and discussed for like 30 years. So first of all, we cannot just roll up our streets and not allow anyone else to ever move to Mount Airy. If we did that years ago, we would not have these great communities of Twin Ridge, Village Gate, Summit Ridge, Nottingham, Sterling Glen, some great communities, great citizens, and our town is thriving. So these potential developments are not a new conversation. They've been discussed and have been on the books for many years. This current council did not just come up with these potential developments. They were in front of many previous councils, but they've landed in our laps. So we are in a unique position right now to chart out how we want the future Mount Airy to look, and we can now control what happens. So right now, one of the biggest issues we have, which has happened in the past, as you know, is the spread of misinformation. The public has done and is doing a great job, the majority of them anyway, spending time getting the facts and information on how we can work together to achieve actual smart growth. You can't just say, I want smart growth, but I don't want anything to be built. So it's not going to be through disrespecting each other, name calling, etc. We do not want huge development. We want to, and we are able to right now, have a say on how that looks. So we need to work together to achieve that for a future Mount Airy.
I love that we can't just say we want smart growth, but not want anything to be built, because that is what's happening right now. And I think it's confusing to a lot of people.
It is, and it's unfortunately, it is, and a lot of people are giving misinformation and not really discussing smart growth and what it actually means. And again, we need to work together to achieve what we want for the future of Mount Airy. We can't just throw these words out there, and we can't just pit one side against the other, and we can't just stir the pot. We have to take advantage of this opportunity we've been given to decide the future path of the town.
Great point. So in 2017, the town paid $135,000 for a design collective, an engineering firm, to create a vision or a roadmap, if you will, for downtown revitalization. Downtown revitalization is something we've been talking about for decades. The town formed a steering committee made up of many leaders in town, volunteers, and citizens held public meetings that they called charrettes, and ensured that the plan that was created was tailored to and embraced the small town charm. That is the reason why so many of us love Mount Airy. While at the same time bringing the much needed foot traffic and new commercial to downtown and the vitality needed in our downtown. So please share with our audience your view of the Mount Airy Downtown Vision Plan and how you see that panning out.
Well, I attended the charrettes and the council meetings years ago as a citizen when the last council retained the firm and spent the time and money to develop that vision plan. I think it's a good plan, and there are a lot of benefits to it, such as increased community open space for community gathering, and the idea of bringing foot traffic downtown and bringing people downtown. People say, why cut a road through to bring traffic downtown? Our downtown businesses are still hurting. We just had a discussion about a downtown business the other day. They are hurting. Whether people believe it or not, it's happening. So we need to do exactly what EDC has always said and revitalize the downtown. So there's some good ideas on how to do that in the vision plan. And there's also some things today that might not be so positive. So let's dig into it. A specific part of the vision plan. The recommendation was to take down the Flatiron building and close Park Avenue. Now we see we have a large group of citizens who want to fight to keep that building. So in the past, citizens came forward and were vocal about keeping the building, and then they went away. That's not the case now. These citizens have a very comprehensive plan to look at the possibility of keeping the building, and I think we need to let them play that out and see what comes of it. So the vision plan has a lot of good ideas that we can now work with and say what still applies, what would we want to change, what do we as citizens want to see happen now. So I think it's a good plan overall and has a lot of good ideas to help meet some of the goals that we want for not just downtown Mount Airy, but for Mount Airy in general, but really to revitalize our downtown and help those businesses.
Yeah, and really, I think the key point also that you made for that was listening to our citizens. So
Yes.
they didn't make it a point to carry out their wishes with the Flatiron building maybe in the past, but now they have. So perhaps it is a good point to, you know, allow them to follow through with that. And if something can be done, maybe it can. You know, so the vision plan has never been anything, as far as I'm concerned, as like the rule or the law of the land, but merely a guide.
Right, it's not the Bible of
Right.
what has to happen in Mount Airy. It's a guide. And there were, if you look at the steering committee, it included the current mayor, it included former council members. There were a lot of people from different areas involved. It wasn't just something that a small group came up with, and it wasn't done overnight. And there was a lot of public input at the time. So I think it's a good kind of template for, let's look and see, you know, it's a guide. It's not meant to be, this is what has to happen and this is it. And the key, what you just said, is we need to listen to the citizens. We can't just say we want to listen to a group of citizens and then not listen to another group. We need to listen to the citizens. And that's one of the main reasons I ran as a citizen, to say, I feel like citizens aren't being heard and why aren't things happening? So that's big on listening to the citizens. But again, let's inform and educate ourselves and learn. Myself, I had to do that to learn what was going on and what was the town doing and what was this vision plan for. Going back to 1993, when we went to some meetings and it turned out they were charrettes for the master plan back then. Having just moved in and just had my first child, I didn't really know what was going on. So I decided I better start informing myself. So I think it's good that citizens are doing that now.
Absolutely. So, and finally, Councilwoman Galetti, our last question, having been in office for a little over a year now, what are your thoughts about the current direction that Mount Airy is heading?
Great question. Well, so right now we have a couple of large groups of citizens getting involved and wanting to be part of the process. And I have not seen this level of involvement in years, as you have seen in the past. So my hope is that they continue to stay involved and volunteer not only for town events, but step up and volunteer on town task forces and commissions and get more involved in helping the town. So I think the direction Mount Airy is heading depends on the decisions we, as citizens, decide what are the best for our town. There needs to be civility and respect in discussions with each other, and we need to work together for what is best for the town. If I learned nothing from the late, great Mayor Pat Rockenberg, is that we can agree to disagree, but work together and respect each other in our differences of opinions. But that is my hope for our town moving forward, that we work together to chart the course of the direction we all want for Mount Airy.
I love that, and how you quoted the late Mayor Rockenberg, because I can say for sure that he did do a lot of healing in his time as mayor.
He did a lot of healing.
Yep.
He ended up being great friends with people that he didn't agree with. They were on opposite ends of issues, and he would appoint people to commissions that had disagreed with him in the past. And he really learned to bring people together and pull out people's strengths and ability to agree to disagree, but work together at the same time.
He did, and I hope that our town can look at that and learn from that, and hopefully move that way into the future, because I think we need a little love right now.
We
and
do.
Bringing together for sure.
And kindness.
Yeah,
Be
kindness.
kind to one
exactly.
another. I'm stealing Ellen's line since she's not on TV anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind to one another.
Well said. Okay, well, that concludes our round of questions for today. Councilwoman Galetti, it has been such a pleasure having you with us today. Thank you so much for sharing some insight into all that you do for our town and your goals and vision for the future of Mount Airy. I want to thank our audience for tuning in today. If you have a business in town or are one of our many great leaders and would like to be featured here, reach out to me today.
Thank
Once
you
again,
so much.
Yeah, thank you. Once again, I'm Donnamarie Needle, Realtor with Northrop Realty and sponsor of Talk of the Town. You can reach me directly 301-466-3086 or donnamarie@northroprealty.com. Thank you again, Lynn and Councilwoman Galetti. And
Thank you, Donnamarie.
we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm the talk of the town. I know you're feeling it now.